afternoon. We are sitting with chairman of the Supervisory Board of Citi Handlowy Bank, one of the biggest banks in Poland, Mr. Sławomir Sikora. Welcome to TVP World. We are talking just 2 days after the elections to the European Parliament. My question is, I'm feeling that all these politicians who are running for this position in Parliament were fighting about many things like migrants, LGBT, other social issues, but there was no talk about economy. Is Europe getting less important because of that?
No, I don't think so. That the economy will be important for Europe long term. Europe is in the competition with the United States and Asia. It's a very important market. It's almost as big as the US is. So I think this will be a topic one day, but currently the challenges are of the different nature. The two priorities which Europe defined, which is the green transformation and new European identity, in my opinion, and will be reviewed and revised as a result of this election. I think that the green transformation will probably suffer from less funding because of the needs for the defense, for the security of Europe, which is a relatively new topic, but a very important one for especially the eastern flank, like Poland and the Central European countries. But it's also important for the biggest countries like Germany, France, or Italy. And the second topic is the immigration. I think Europe left aside the immigration, which then became on the agenda of the far-right politicians. And I think this will be, again, put in the center of the next term of the European Parliament and European Commission. But I'm a banker, so in a way, I have probably a bit biased view.
Yes, but having this biased view, you, of course, can have a wider opinion. Europe is, European Union showed over the last 5 years several very strong moves towards unity, to more unity within the EU. And this was first because of the COVID pandemic and then the war in Ukraine. But on other issues, there are huge divisions between particular countries. So what will be the result? More unified Europe, or European Union, in fact, falling apart over all these differences and being squeezed, in fact, between two huge mights, which is the US and China?
It's very hard to make that prediction. So maybe I will rephrase your question and make it easier for me, which is
very good.
What I would like Europe to be. And I think that Europe being more united will work for all the countries, although probably each country has to compromise. And that requires that the domestic politics becomes a bit more international than it is today. But the fundamental issues, which is the efficiency of the decision-making process. This is this American question: who do I call in Europe to talk to Europe? Right? Do you have a president? Europe has a president now, has a
sort of
president and head of European Commission. There is certainly a party to be called from Washington, but I think the potential results in the United States might have a huge impact on the European unity. And I think it's to some extent ironic that US demanding more from Europe might unite Europe. And I think that that after my recent visits to Washington at the annual meeting of IMF, there were two takeaways. The one was about the globalization being probably fulfilling its full potential and now in decline. That's obvious, but it's less obvious that we are more and more moving to two blocks at least, or maybe three: the Western world, Russia, China, plus two other countries, and the global South, which aspires to be a third party at the table. So that's very important and has implication, especially in terms of the supply chains, security, resilience, and the strategy in terms of defense systems. And the second takeaway was that American economy is benefiting from the rest of the world, including Europe. That was almost a shocking number given by the Deputy Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, that between 2021 and 2023, US economy absorbed almost 1/3 of the global flows, and that was increased from around 18% in 2021. So within 2-3 years, suddenly US economy, you can say, sucked from the world, the capital, which is needed in other parts of the world as well.
So what are the consequences?
The consequences are, and we can see it, I mean, the FDIs in China are in decline. Europe or European companies are looking to develop in the United States for various reasons, but especially the chemical industry, pharmaceutical industry, are reaching out and making the new investments in the United States. So I think Europe and economic issues will come back. Otherwise, Europe will suffer and the European citizens will suffer.
During these two processes I mentioned previously, during the pandemic and then now during the war, Europe, the European Union agreed to create its own debt, which will be taken in the name of the 27 countries by Brussels, which means a very, very strong integration. And in fact, it looks like it's going to develop. So I'm now asking a banker who knows how strong capital is to unify. Do you think it is a road towards United States of Europe?
Probably the Recovery and Resolution Fund, which you referred to as a single fact, is not yet what in America it's called the Hamilton effect.
Yeah.
Right? That suddenly the states of the United States become more united by the common debt.
Well, and in the end, they created one currency for the whole union.
That's true. Europe has one currency, almost. And there are still countries, sizable countries like this one, yeah. Poland, which is not in euro, but committed in the accession agreement to move towards euro. And I think the discussion which is going on in Poland now shows more support for transition to euro, not in a short term, but a mid-term. But coming back to your question about whether RRF, the Recovery and Resolution, which is a common debt issued for the first time on behalf of 27 countries, I think that the defense industry needs, which are tremendous, combined with the energy transition and potentially recovery of Ukraine, which will be on the agenda of Europe, more than anybody else, will require that kind of action. And I see in Europe that politicians realize more and more that that is the way forward. Something which for me is very promising is also a commitment that Europe has to catch up with US in terms of developing the capital market. It's been a while now, probably more than 10 years, where capital market Europe has become a topic. However, it's hard to say it's a success or successful project so far. So those new needs, green transition, defense, recovery or rebuilding Ukraine, might be another incentive, not only for the common debt, but also for growing the capital market and putting the savings of Europeans into work.
Do you think that, let's call it Brexitization of the city of London, which is one of the biggest capital centers, is very much disturbing this process?
I was disappointed with the Brexit. And I think nobody, neither United Kingdom nor Europe, benefited from that. I think that for Europe, London was a very important infrastructure for the capital market.
Is there a chance for it to come back?
Is the question if European companies will have access to capital market in London, or you mean UK coming back to Europe?
Both.
I think more to the first than to the latter, in my opinion.
Okay, so thank you very much. It was a great pleasure to have you in TVP World, Mr. Sikora, and I wish you all the best on your next visit to Washington.
Thank you very much for having me today. Thank you.